Thanks for listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast. I'm your host, Mike Luke, joined by Jason Shear, Jacob Franklin, playing very sick behind the scenes. But you know what? That's why Jacob is in the inner circle at PHNX. Get what I did there? The inner circle, the trio, Jason Shear?
Look at you.
That was very funny. I make myself laugh from time to time. All right, now, we got a lot to get to this show. We're going to talk Arizona football finishes 11th in the rankings. We're going to talk about filling the gaps for next year. We're going to talk a little bit about 24-25 Arizona football, and we're going to talk a little bit of Big 12. But first, I want to talk about the game last night, even though it has nothing to do with Arizona. It amused me. Shear, that was one of the worst quarterback played championship games I've ever seen. Total crap across the board.
Yeah, I mean, you could say, like, I get Michigan's defense is really good, but it's not like J.J. McCarthy played well. It was just the game overall was just boring. It was just a super boring game.
And what I got to get, here's the thing. McCarthy to me is like what every Alabama quarterback was for like 15 years under Nick Saban. Everybody is Greg McElroy or somebody like that where you're like, you're not going to really win anything with this guy. Other than the fact that he's staying out of trouble. I would never draft that guy with a high-end pick. That guy's a stiff.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't draft McCarthy with a high-end pick, but he did, what his defense is really good, and he doesn't make mistakes, and that's how Michigan won all year. I mean, they didn't win because he was awesome.
Now, you were telling me before, Shear, that you didn't think that, you said you really think that Arizona could have beaten that Washington team against Texas. Shear, do you think that Arizona could have beaten that Washington team we saw last night?
Sure, but I think part of that was Michigan, don't you think?
Yeah, but let's be honest here. Penix was missing a lot. Now, there was a lot of cheating going on that we need to talk about.
A lot of cheating. I think Penix broke a rib, by the way.
What's that?
I see what BCat says. I agree. I thought Penix broke a rib early in that game.
Yes, I could see that. But I will say this with Penix though. What we saw there, Arizona could have beaten that team. He was missing wide open throws the entire time. He looked like poo.
What's crazy is you actually you had a rare good point during the game. Very rare.
No.
J.J. McCarthy would be the 7th best quarterback in the Pac-12. Now, that's also credit to the Pac-12, but he would be.
All right, so let's talk about it. You said 5th, and then you walked
it back. I said 5th at absolute best. You could maybe make an argument.
It's 6th at absolute best, correct?
Yeah, I forgot about Shedeur.
All right. So, I almost said Bo Penix. Bo Nix is better than J.J. McCarthy. Michael Penix is better than J.J. McCarthy. Caleb Williams is better than J.J. McCarthy. Noah Fafita is better than J.J. McCarthy. Shedeur Sanders is better than J.J. McCarthy. Would you rather have Cam Ward or J.J. McCarthy?
Ward. Definitely Ward.
So that's what I'm saying. That's what we're looking at right there. But I will say, that was just that was a boring game. I was really hoping Washington would win. I like Washington fans by and large, and I think they're a good fan base. But the best team won. Michigan deserved to win the national championship.
Yeah, I'm not upset about it. I mean, I wanted Washington to win, but Michigan is clearly the best team in the country this year.
All right, now let's talk about Arizona because we have the rankings that are coming out. The rankings have come out. Arizona's at 11. Shear actually thought that Oklahoma was above Arizona, and I had to tell him before the show, no, that's Ohio State, not Oklahoma, my friend. Overall, I'm all right with 11. I was really hoping for 10 because there's just something cool about being in the top 10. It doesn't happen in Arizona, but I'm fine with 11. I couldn't really look at any of those schools and get really worked up about it.
I'm fine with 11 also, but I got to say, man, like, I was bored. I couldn't sleep last night, and so I started to do the poll tracker and all that. And, like, there's some people that just 100% should not have a vote.
All right, let's talk about him.
Like, there's a guy out of Boise who's got Kentucky ranked. Kentucky's 7-5.
Well, they're in the SEC, though.
But he's got them ranked 22. They're ranked 33rd. He's got Toledo ranked. He's got Arizona 16th.
There's no rationale for having Arizona at 16.
With Oklahoma 13, SMU 14, and Liberty 15.
All right, let's talk about that. You must not have watched Liberty play against a real team. You must not have watched SMU this year, or you must not have watched Arizona play Oklahoma, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild. Like, I was just going through some of them, and it's like, Here's a good one. So there's a guy that voted Oregon State 15th and Arizona 16th.
Who is this? Was this the Digital Dam?
Mike Niziolek from Bloomington, Indiana.
Yeah.
Oregon State 15th in the country.
Maybe like 4 weeks, maybe like 5 weeks ago.
It's just like, and I think part of it is, and even with Oregon State, doesn't make sense. Like, I think part of it is some writers took the bowls and said they were important, and some just said they're meaningless to me. Because there's multiple writers, like the last three, I'm looking at them while I'm talking to you, have Oklahoma 13 and Arizona 16. Like, there's a guy in San Diego, for instance, you're going to like this one, Mike, that has Arizona at 16, Oklahoma at 13, and still ranked Iowa in the top, like, 20.
Iowa?
Like,
Iowa didn't finish ranked, did they?
I don't think so.
All right. That also still, people say, Mike, are you going to apologize to the Big Ten? I will not apologize to the Big Ten because Iowa was in the Big Ten championship.
No, they are. They did rank. They finished 20th.
How are they? How does Iowa finish ranked?
I will give. I know you give Lev crap on his rankings and stuff, and he did not rank Iowa, so that one we'll credit him.
All right, I'm going to give Lev credit on that one. I don't like having LSU ahead of Arizona. I don't like that. LSU to me is the fake good SEC team.
Yeah, it's just like it's some of it. Like there's a lot. There are multiple writers that like had Oklahoma against an LSU, and it's like I would make the argument because I was looking again. What did Ohio State do to be ranked ahead of Arizona?
Nothing. That was going to be my one point. What did Ohio State do to be ranked? And listen, I mean, you ran off Kyle McCord. I get it. But either way, if you're going to count the bowl game, they looked awful. The Ohio State one to me is rampant Big Ten bias.
Forget the bowl game, right? They lost to Michigan. That's fine. Their best win was Notre Dame and Penn State. That's it. That's the only two ranked teams they beat. The only two teams they beat this season that were ranked at any point.
And Penn State is fake good. They're another fake good team.
Yeah, Penn State's not good. Notre Dame's not good.
Right. So I'm with you on that one. Ohio State has does nothing for me other than I guess that it's the Ohio State. But yeah, I don't get any of that. I wish Arizona would have been at 10. I think that they are better than Ohio State. I think they should have been above Ohio State. But either way, 11's not the worst thing. All right, now we're going to get into some Arizona football and Arizona news.
I can tell you one thing, though, that'll piss you off. Your boy Dave would have got a $25,000 bonus if Arizona finished 10th.
Oh, man, I got a message, Dave. I got to hang out.
Now you're upset.
Now I'm not cool with this. Yes, I'm not all right with that. Now, Dave, we need to get Dave all that money that we can get Dave. Real quick, and then we're going to get to Arizona sports. Promise. The cheating by Michigan last night was insane, and it was never called. They held on every single play, Sheer.
Yeah, I mean, insane. Like and what bothered me about the refs is I always say, if you're going to be bad the whole game.
Right.
But they didn't call PI the whole game, and then they called that lame holding penalty late in the game. That wasn't a holding penalty.
That was not and it changed. And again, it changed the game. It changed the game. I mean,
right.
Yeah, I didn't like that at all. All right, let's get to some Arizona football because that's what people really care about. ESPN, I believe, has Arizona preseason number 9 next year, and they're way too early. Is this true, Jason Shearer?
Yeah, it is.
I like it. That's about where I would put it. And if you're preseason number 9, that also means that you're generally a title contender. Would you agree with this, Jason Shearer?
Yeah, if you're preseason number 9, ESPN, and I think their odds are 40-1, which isn't bad.
Right. Yeah. All right. We're going to get to that, but we got to talk about replacing some key personnel here. Now, there's not going to be a ton of news on the transfer portal until for a while now. So people asking about that. There's not going to be a ton going on. First, you got to figure out how to we're going to figure out how to replace Jordan Morgan. Jordan Morgan obviously is a massive deal. We expect him to go in the first round. This is correct, Jason Shearer.
Yes.
All right. So again, you don't get really, by the way, really cool. 2 T-Lokes in back-to-back years going in the first round. Bijan Robinson and Jordan Morgan.
It's pretty cool.
Very cool. Nice development by the staff with Jordan Morgan.
Look at you.
We will get to the development factor. Actually, let's get to the development factor now. So this is the big part of this offensive line is going to come down to Deuced. We need the Deuced boost. You bring him in from Northwestern, and like we talked about before, I still want to see it, but I'm also kind of on the same page where this coaching staff definitely has shown they know what they're doing. Because at the other positions, I'm cool with. I think that the offensive line got kind of a bum rap because you had one guy out there that shouldn't have been out there, and I don't think people were really in the right position. I think if you had put Big Jonah at left tackle in that game and put Leif inside, it probably would have been a different ball game. But at right tackle, totally cool with Polito. The interior line, I think, is fantastic with Moy, Baker, and Sabanea. It's going to come down to Deuced. We need the Deuced boost.
Yeah, I mean that's just what it's a lot of it is going to ride. And look, Arizona could add another lineman in the portal. I don't think they will. Unless there's some movement in the spring. But right now, they're probably done on the O-line. And, yeah, it's going to come down to how good Alex Deuced is. And I know you're a little skeptical about it, and I completely get it. The coaching staff thinks this kid is going to be awesome.
Right. Now, okay, let's Brad Rich, the great Brad Rich. Great point right here, Brad Rich. Let's pick up these Georgia, Alabama linemen in the portal, the big Bill Norton strategy. I like that. Any lineman from Alabama or Georgia that enters the portal, we welcome you with open arms.
So remember now, also Michigan and Washington players have 5 days to enter the portal. I'm curious what Mason Graham does. Mm-hmm. That's the one. I'm very Servite kid, all that. Right. That's the one that makes the most sense.
That does make. All right, let's talk a little bit about Mason Graham. What should we know about Mason Graham, Jason Shearer?
Servite kid was on that team. Mm-hmm. 4-star. That's the guy where everyone's watching him. If he enters the portal, Arizona's going to be all over.
Does Arizona have a chance with Silas Bolden?
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, it's probably Arizona and USC.
Oh,
his mom, I believe, went to Washington, so they're in there as well. But Arizona has a chance with them.
All right, yes, but does that mean that we still have to play Montana Lamonius Craig then if Silas Bolden comes back? Because that's still my key. I don't want him on the field as much.
I mean, Bolden's a slot guy, so unless Kevin Green's moving outside. Bolden is absolutely a slot guy. He's like
he is. I know he is. I just don't love. All right. Do we have betting odds on the Big 12? Great question, Jason Shearer. Look this up. Not yet, Jake. Not yet. But we will get to those. Now, Deuced obviously is a huge part. Let's talk about the development, though, of the offensive line. For the first time in many, Brad Rich. I will listen. I will gladly apologize. Now, listen, we've talked about this before. Kylan Boswell is not part of the My Bad movement because I actually thought Kylan Boswell is good. If Montana Lamonius Craig catches for like 900 yards and like 13 touchdowns, that will 1,000% be the part of the My Bad movement. I don't want that one to necessarily happen because that's a long hashtag. My Bad Montana Lamonius Craig each time.
Or it'd be My Bad MLC.
Yeah, MLC. But sure, you would also have to be part of that movement as well, though.
Yeah.
Like you were with Gunner. Now, you weren't part of the Pella Larson My Bad movement, but you would have to be part of that movement, though.
Yeah, I'm laughing. Someone texted me something. I'm number one for Pella. I'm Pella for life.
Mm-hmm. Mea culpa, Montana's good. All right, now let's talk a little bit about the depth on the O-line. Then we're going to get to some other positions we got to talk about. The depth on the O-line, I think, is about the best as we've seen here in quite a while because we've already just talked about the starting five like your basketball. But behind them, you've got a lot of players that can play. Leif can play. We've seen Leif can play. And then between Elijah Payne, Tylen Gonzalez, Rhino, you got a lot of dudes that got some real potential. You're not throwing guys that look like me and you out there anymore, guys that can actually play. The depth on the O-line is pretty solid.
You always say that. I think I could be an alignment.
So Shearer coming in at 5'9", what, 285?
No, not 285.
What do you weigh?
I don't know. Not 285.
Nobody's listening. What do you
I'll go to the doctor tomorrow. I'll let you know.
All right. We'll break. Shearer's playing weight.
Like my playing weight. Yeah, I mean, there's depth on the line. I'm not as worried about the offensive line as I think other people are. I think that really, overall, There's depth. There's guys developing. I think they're going to be fine. I realize Jordan Morgan is awesome. I don't read too much into that Oklahoma game because of what you said. I felt that it was kind of just pushed together in a couple weeks. These guys didn't work out a lot. Fisch said they were moving dudes all over the place. So, you know.
All right. Now, Angel C, how many first-round picks for Arizona next year? 2? I think 2. I think 2 is a very fair number. I think with T-Mac and Jonas Sabané, I think that's what you're looking at, Sheer.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And I feel fairly comfortable they'll both be first-round picks. So there's that. All right. Now we got to talk about Jacob Cowing. Listen, if you get Silas Bolden, that's obviously a nice thing. Maybe not quite as good as Jacob Cowing, but either way, Bolden's a bad dude. And he could 1000% play. And maybe if he's not quite as good as Cowing, he's right in the discussion. That would be an equal opportunity trade, Jason Shearer.
Bolden?
Yeah.
Yeah, Bolden's a stud.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's as good as any receiver that has come through the portal. 800 receiving yards at Oregon State. He would probably go for 1,000 at Arizona. That is a nightmare for opposing defenses.
Yes. And then can we get Malachi Riley on the outside then as opposed to Montana?
Yeah, man, you just hate Montana. I hope he doesn't watch this show.
I know. I'm sure he's a fine individual. I just don't understand. Every single game towards the end, it just felt like Arizona was trying to force feed him the ball. He was out there the whole time, and he caught for like 200 yards. That's all I'm saying.
Isn't that the best when you start like, I'm sure he's a great kid.
Yeah.
But
it's like,
no, I agree. I just want to see more, honestly, I just want to see more rotation at wide receiver.
Because you got studs. Even our guy, Tony Jones. Not Tony Jones. Tony
AJ.
Jones. AJ Jones. There's talent here. Let's make it work. And besides T-Mac and Cowing, I just don't feel that anybody else on the roster is so good they just can't come off the field. I guess that's kind of where I'm at. Now, did Jacob Cowing do enough to get inducted into our Ring of Honor? Well, we better ask Marquise Flowers about that one first. That was funny. Jason. Sherry's probably going to come at me now.
I got your back against him. Don't worry.
Yeah. But I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, Cowing, what kind of pro do we think Cowing is going to be? Because I think he's an underrated pro prospect. I think if you get him in the 4th round, I think you're getting a steal.
I know for a fact, because I got it out of them, that the Giants came by twice just for Cowing.
Right.
That was their guy. They like Cowing a lot. I think 4th round is reasonable.
Yeah.
He's going to run. I mean, I assume he runs, and he's going to run a fast 40.
Yeah. Honestly, I keep going back to this. What about, I think the Zay Flowers comparison isn't the worst comparison in the world, Sheer.
It's not. You did a good job there.
Every now and then, generally I get beaten down by Sheer, but every now and then there's a point where he just says, you know what, Mike, that was actually a really good point you made. I think that was a good one. All right. Sheer, have you ever had some burros?
Who? Yes.
Burros.
I'm having it right now.
Have you really? I thought it was just in Phoenix.
I don't know.
All right. Well,
is that the? Yeah. No. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
All right. Let Some Burros cater your next meal, big or small. Order online or find one near you by visiting someburros.com. Jacob Franklin not feeling well, a little under the weather. I can guarantee that Jacob Franklin is probably wishing that he could have some burros. Is this true, Jacob Franklin? Would you like to join real quick?
Yeah, his voice is done.
You guys got to hear how bad Jacob Franklin sounds. This is terrible. Jacob Franklin, join.
Sound like him.
It doesn't sound. Jacob Franklin, will you join really quick?
Just say hi to everyone.
Just say hi. That's all. Jacob Franklin, you're making us all look bad. All right, fine, whatever. He doesn't want to join. Some burros, and let's see here. BetMGM. All right, Sheer and I are generally dumb, but we've been telling you for a long time that Vegas is still behind Arizona, and I think they're going to be behind Arizona again next year, Sheer. We're going to get into that in a minute. But first, check out BetMGM Sportsbook app. Sign up for BetMGM. Use bonus code PHNX. Place your first BetMGM Sportsbook wager through BetMGM mobile app of at least $10. If that bet loses, your bonus bets will be available once your initial wager is settled. Check out the show notes for details. Let's hear Shane with the disclaimer.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Nevada, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus to wager. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help Michigan. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in D.C., New York, or Ontario.
All right, now. So anyways, the receiver position I feel fine about. And actually on the O-line, I feel pretty good about it. Now, Tanner McLaughlin. Where do we think Tanner McLaughlin's going to get picked in the draft, Sheer? And then we're going to talk about the replacements.
Ooh, I don't know.
I bet he's going to get picked 6th round.
Yeah, let's go 6th round.
6th round. All right. Now, the leaders in the clubhouse, everybody looks at Kean Burnett initially because, again, mid 4-star kid from USC, physical specimen. I actually saw him pumping gas at a rival gas station a while back. We'll put that one out there. But, Shira, you think somebody else is going to emerge at tight end. This is true.
No.
I thought you were just saying the kid from Oregon.
No, he's redshirting.
No.
No. Dorian Thomas.
So
I think Dorian Thomas is going to be really good. What kid from Oregon are you talking about? Dorian Thomas is from Washington.
I thought he was from the same place.
Charlie Crowell is from Oregon. He's redshirting. I think Dorian Thomas is going to emerge as a legit dude.
Do you think he's going to start?
No, I think Burnett will start.
Okay, good. Well, I have big expectations for Kean. I think that you got to remember, I keep telling people all the time about Kean. By the way, I had to tell the U of A SID person how to actually pronounce Kean Burnett's name. This is true, Sheer. You were right there.
That is true. I'm breaking news right now, Mike.
What are you breaking? What do you got? Talk to me.
So I kind of hinted at it yesterday on your show, but I just got the go ahead. People want portal news. Jackson Moy was indeed on campus this past weekend.
Ooh. Jackson Moy, not a relative of Wendell Moy. This is not true.
Good play. Very solid play. No, different spelling. Oceanside. There's other guys that they're involved with, but he's very solid.
What do the people need to know about Jackson Moy?
I just told them.
All right,
he's 6'2", 260. He was a 3-star coming out of high school, but had very good offer list. He's a good player. I like him.
Right. Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. Now, but Kean Burnett.
Do you want everything?
Yeah, just go ahead. Read everything.
He's got Jacob Kungaica numbers.
So he would be the leading. So it'd be the leading interior pass rusher on the team.
He had more tackles. He has more tackles in his career. More pass deflections. He's good. He's solid. He's 6'2".
That's when you know you're losing a debate about a defensive tackle when you start talking about pass deflections as opposed to sacks.
Well, what's fumble recoveries? Those are just things you fall on. You don't cause them.
Well, you don't know.
I got you there. What are fumble recovery is one of the lamest stats out there. But
if you're around the ball,
you just fall on a ball. That's all you do.
Can't you say that about an interception then? It's just thrown to you.
No. You got to work for an interception. For a fumble recovery, you literally, like, Kungaica didn't do anything in the Alamo Bowl. He picked up the ball when Isaiah Ward destroyed a guy.
This is very good. By the way, this is catching on. 5 of a Kind Media. Is Jedd Fisch? Is Jedd Fisch a fisher of men from the JUCO ranks? Any JUCOs? JUCOs are going to be very, very.
Butler.
What's that?
They got Butler.
I know. I was going to say you got Bryce Butler. So
Do you think? Serious question, because we're very good at this.
We're very good.
If you gave me 24 hours, do you think I could convince people that Mike Vrabel is a defensive coordinator candidate at Arizona?
Well, we do need to talk about misinformation you are spreading, though.
Mike, I could get Mike Vrabel done.
Sure. Do you want to apologize now or later? The Partridge stuff, I'm still getting asked about Partridge.
No. Let's be very clear what's going on. No. Okay, let's be very clear, and I'm going to post this as well. These are candidate profiles. This isn't a hot board. People want me to do a hot board, and I completely get it. The problem is that Jedd Fisch is making the hire in Jedd Fisch only. So on January 9th, 2 days after Nansen was made official, I'm going to be blunt. I don't know who the candidates are right now. I know that guys that are going to get floated in coaching circles and reach out to Jedd. I know of 2 or 3 more guys. Jedd could hang up the phone. Jedd could talk to these guys and say, I'm not hiring you, but I'm going to talk to you. Like, I guarantee you, Charlie Partridge and Jedd have a conversation. Does it go further than that? Probably not.
Well,
right?
I got a question. If your boss is going to veto a decision, are you actually a candidate? Is that something that you should actually put on a that you should put? It's wildly irresponsible, Sheer.
You told me that Dave was going to let. So now Dave is vetoing.
I never said that. I was just speculating. I never
said that Dave is going to veto.
I didn't say that.
If Jedd went to Dave Hickey and said, Dave, I think Charlie's the guy, what would Dave say?
I have no inside information on this. None whatsoever, but I do believe that they would probably say we need to go back to the drawing board. That's all.
I'm just saying, like I can, like, there's a guy that I'm gonna write about tomorrow.
Who?
Right?
Dwayne Akina.
I'm saving Akina until later. Akina to me is going to be on the staff no matter what. I don't even know if I'm going to do one on him. He's going to be co-defensive coordinator, right? Let's just assume. You know what I mean? So they still got to bring in another coach. So there's a guy that, like, I'm going to write about tomorrow. Do I think he'll get the job? Probably not. But he's getting a lot of mention in coaching circles.
Who is it?
It's the linebacker coach for Alabama.
Oh, the Pauly.
Yeah.
Okay. By the way, Zona Tucson 9-3, a name that has not been floated out there. Clancy Pendergast for DC. Would you rather have Clancy Pendergast or Alex Grinch?
Where is Pendergast right now?
I don't know. I don't even think he's coaching, is he?
Yeah, no, he definitely was. He at UCLA again? Wasn't he at UCLA as an analyst this past year?
Maybe.
Yes. He's at UCLA as an analyst.
Yeah, I don't want him anywhere near here.
No. And I can guarantee you Jedd's not looking that type of direction. It's going to be a guy that can recruit.
So all right, now we're going to get back to a player position filling, but you do admit that the Charlie Partridge drastic, very irresponsible.
No, I think it's unlikely. It's not irresponsible. Irresponsible would be like if there was a coaching search and someone mentioned KO as a candidate every single time.
I mean,
that's irresponsible.
Strong defensive principles involved. Familiar with the.
What is more likely, you convincing people KO to join the basketball staff, or me convincing people that Mike Vrabel as the DC?
Mike Vrabel is the DC because the KO thing's been out there so long now. I mean,
Tommy feels that he needs to improve defensively, and they need an intensity.
They need an intensity level. Yes,
he's bringing KO in as a assistant to the head coach.
How about this? Associate head coach in waiting.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? All right, now defensive side of the football. All right, a couple positions that we need to talk about here. First of all, at the pass rusher, you're going to probably have to wait till the spring for the pass rusher, I would assume. But I am very, very bullish. I'm going to continue to push this. I'm very bullish on Deuce Davis and Isaiah Ward. I think both these guys are going to have around 7+ sacks next year. You think I'm wrong?
You think two defensive ends are going to have 7 sacks?
No.
Wow.
Isaiah had 4 this year. Deuce had 3.5.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. What's wrong? KO team psychologist. That's very good. What
I actually, that's another one. Like, if here's what it comes down to. If you believe in the progression of this roster, then you believe that Russell Davis is going to take that next step, and he's going to be a guy that can now start. Right? You just do. If you believe in the development of this, and they still absolutely have to bring a guy in. And maybe Deuce Davis just plays more snaps than last season, but doesn't necessarily start. I don't know, but they got to bring in a defensive lineman. I know that they're looking at bringing in visitors this weekend. I don't know who or what yet, but.
All right, so you think I'm wrong. You don't think that those two can combine for 14 sacks.
That's a lot, man. 2 defensive ends for 14 sacks in a conference that doesn't really pass that much. I don't know. I feel like we're just pretending like the Big 12 is some awful football conference.
No, it's not. We're going to stick up for the Big 12 in a second.
But the way everyone, you know what I mean? Like the way everyone talks, like, well, Arizona's going to go 12-0, and
That's all crap.
I don't really see any team that's going to beat them, and the defensive line is going to total 30 sacks, and
They had 30 sacks this year.
the D line.
Or no, the defense as a whole, but half of that was from Jacob Manu, who had, I believe, 19 sacks.
Dude, I'm looking at the Titans coaching staff. Do you know that they have two guys that? This is funny. They have an offensive assistant, Kylan Butler. Remember Kylan Butler?
Oh, I do remember Kylan Butler, California kid, running
Their
back for
tight end
Baylor
coach-
Cal.
Yeah, their tight ends coach is Tony Dews.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, maybe you bring the whole band. All right. Tebow 49. Great question. Enjoying the show, guys. Thanks. That makes one. All right. Now, looks like U of A, Utah, TCU, and Tech and both Kansas schools fighting for the Big 12. I think you got to put Oklahoma State in there.
You put Oklahoma State, get rid of TCU and Tech.
Yeah. Oklahoma State's a school to me, like with Mike, I almost said Mike Van Gundy. With Mike Gundy, you're always going to probably be in the mix somewhere in that 15 to 20 range. And every like 4 or 5 years, you're going to have a really good team. Mike Gundy's a beast. Now, Warren Sunderland. Nansen poach any players? No, he's not taking any players.
Okay, this is going to sound like sour grapes, but I'm going to do it anyway. And usually I do this a lot. You make fun of me.
You'll always kick people
I
on
think
their way out.
I think you're going to agree on this one. Johnny Nansen as a recruiter was largely disappointing at Arizona. Like, we need to stop pretending like every Polynesian player on the roster was because Johnny brought them in.
I don't understand this, and it's driving me up a wall. I keep getting people that send him, well, he recruited a Dory Jackson at USC. Cool. USC recruits itself. Yes, you're exactly right. And keep in mind, the 2022 historic class, Johnny Nansen was not here for. None of those players are Johnny Nansen guys. So this whole thing about, well, you're losing this ace recruiter. Who did he bring in?
And look, and again, most coordinators actually don't recruit. They don't have time. They don't have time to be dynamic recruiters. It's usually down to the position coaches. But the idea that Nansen, like, I would challenge someone to tell me who Nansen brought in this year's class.
You can't. Jamari Phillips' uncle, Jason, was trying to tell me, well, you can't really replace, the recruiter that is Johnny Nansen. And then I asked him, I was like, all right, just give me one guy that he brought in, and he couldn't he couldn't name anybody. So again, we
credited him this year. I credit with 3 guys, right? Cepho, Adua, and Bryce Butler. Right. Those were the only guys that mentioned Johnny Nansen as a recruiter to me.
By the way, Somburro's got a free read in today. I was reading off the wrong thing. Sorry, Jacob Franklin. All right, now it's also time for the BetMGM parlay, Jason Shear. I am picking Arizona to win this week, and I am going to take the over on the BetMGM Sportsbook app of whatever they have for Arizona with wins next year. What say you?
You don't even need a spread. Look at you.
I don't need a spread.
Whatever the spread is, Arizona's covering against Washington State. I don't think it's going to be big. Ken Palm has it
I think it's going to be. I agree with you. I think it's going to be smaller.
Ken Palm has it as 11.
I think Arizona wins by about 13. I'm going with the cover.
That's fair. You think Arizona's going to be 9 wins in Vegas?
Yeah, no, I was wrong on that. I think they'll be 8, but I love the over of 8, though.
Yes, I would agree with that. I think they'll be like 7.5, and I'll take over.
Now, listen here. It's going to be fun traveling into Big 12 country because guess what? There's a lot of Circle Ks in Big 12 country. Remember when we were under the impression there weren't Circle Ks in Michigan, and then P-Posh put out there was like 9,000? All right, here's the deal. Join Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. As always, you will thank me later. That's essentially where we're at. And let's see here. Illegal Pete's. Sheer, have you been to Illegal Pete's?
I actually have.
All right. Now, Sheer's bulking a little bit right now, so that would probably be a good time to go to Illegal Pete's. This is correct.
Sure, I'm bulking.
Yes, all right. Shear's bulking right now. He's getting into his playing weight. Ring in the new year. Oh, this is not right. Actually,
how many wrong reads? Mike's having a rough day.
Kick the Monday blues with $3 margaritas all day, or ease your way back into the week with $2 tacos every Tuesday. Do you work in healthcare or education? Take your team to Illegal Pete's every Tuesday and enjoy buy one, get one free entrees. And don't forget to unwind after a long day at their happy hour, 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. every day. Illegal Pete's, your go-to spot for burritos, buddies, and beer. All right, now, Arizona needs to absolutely get another pass rusher. We do agree on this. I am curious about the linebacker position. The secondary, though, we're set. Arizona, I am more than okay. I would actually challenge if there's a better secondary in the country. That's for you, Gunnar Maldonado.
Yeah, secondary, you're fine. Unless there's just like some freak guy that wants to come to Arizona. You're good at the secondary. They absolutely need another linebacker, and not one that's developmental. They need a linebacker that could come in and basically play right away.
Right. Yes. No, you're wrong about this, KW. We're very excited about the Big 12. We're very big Big 12 fans on this show because they have fans that actually care about sports. We're leaving a conference with fans that don't care about sports. We're excited to go to the Big 12. I speak for you as well, Jason Shear.
Yeah, I was actually discussing with Shelly the other day why the schedule hasn't come out yet, because I want to book my Big 12 away trip.
All right, let's talk Arizona basketball now in the Big 12, my friends. By the way, we got Matt Muehlbach, that loser, coming on tomorrow. By the way, leader of men, Matt Muehlbach. Let's talk a little bit of 24-25 Arizona in the Big 12. All right, you got Jamari Phillips coming in, you got Carter Bryant, you got Steven. Arizona's roster is still somewhat in flux because, again, you've got, Caleb Love, Pella Larson. They can come back if they want. I get it.
Umar too.
I do believe. All right, I'm going to say this. Out of Umar Ballo, leader of men, Caleb Love, and Pella Larson, I'm going to say one of those guys comes back.
I think Umar would be the most likely, right?
Yeah,
Pella,
but
how old is Pella? Eventually, you got to move on.
Well, right. Pella's going to be 24 next season. Pella's very old. I would totally welcome Caleb Love back.
Yeah, there's zero chance.
But it's going to be interesting next year because Arizona, you could make the case Arizona is going to have the deepest, most raw talent that it's had here since the Tommy Gunn took over. Because you're going to have Jamari Phillips, 5-star. By the way, you guys better not downgrade him. I know what you're up to, and I don't like it, Sheer.
That's not me. Whatever. I have nothing to do with the rankings unless they're good.
Okay. Yes. All right. But Jamari Phillips, Carter Bryant, KJ Lewis, you talk about 3 studs. That is a nice little, troika. And then at the point guard position, you got Jaden Bradley, who you don't like. I like. And then, let's be honest here. Where's Kylan Boswell going?
Yeah, that's really the big one, right? Like, is Kylan going to make a bad decision or is he going to come back?
Because I just don't see him. And again, he's playing much better. Again, to quote Nipsey Hussle, we hustle and motivate on this show. But I just can't see the market for him right now. Maybe I'm wrong, but I can't see the market for him.
No, you're right. But again, we said this before. You don't need to be ready to declare anymore.
Yeah, but it's also, yes, you don't have to be ready. Like Dalen Terry wasn't ready, but Dalen Terry had immense upside. You could tell by looking at, by the way, he got his first start the other day. But you could tell by looking at his frame, his understanding that was somebody. Boswell, you don't look at his frame and say that's somebody with immense upside either.
Yeah, but I'm just saying it wouldn't be the first bad decision.
All right, now we are not going to have any of this, KW. Big 12 country is ugly and boring and nothing to do. That is why the fans like sports. It's all they have. All right. First of all, this is a sports decision. I am not going to Stillwater to go fishing. I am going there because I want to go watch basketball and football. Same with Lawrence, Kansas. It is a huge upgrade over the Pac-12. Get out of here with all that those snobby remarks, Sheer. I speak for you as well.
It's real simple. Do you want to go see a basketball game at Kansas, or do you want to go see a basketball game at what? Oregon would be the equivalent.
It's exactly the same thing. Guess what? I want to go somewhere where they care about sports, period. So that doesn't, that whole thing. And again, I'm not beating up on UKW, but a lot of people say the same thing. I'm not going to Lawrence to go out on a nightlife. I mean, I'm going there to watch.
I get it from a fan perspective, but from a me and you perspective, we get in the night before, we go to a good local restaurant, we go to the game, we go to a good local bar, and then the next day you fly out. That's it. That's all we're doing.
And by the way, I would much rather go to a conference as well that has a commissioner that knows what he's doing. Brett Yormark and George Kliavkoff, one of these is not like the other. This is correct.
Correct.
All right. So either way, but no, Arizona in the Big 12 next year is going to be all kinds of interesting because you've got those three that we talked about. You got Krivas coming back. I personally, again, Umar Bala, leader of men, we always wish him the best. I would like to see Umar maybe move on because I think with Umar, I know. But with Umar, I just think you know what it is. And again, Umar is good, but Umar also has multiple severe limitations that I think at times do kind of rear their ugly heads. Part of the pun. Am I wrong?
Yes. If Umar wants to come back, you welcome him back with open arms.
Well, I'm not saying to push him out.
Well, then what are you saying?
I'm just saying that I think I am more interested by a year 2 Krivas, to be honest with you.
Yeah, why can't you have both?
Because Umar would start then, and Umar would still play 25 to 28 minutes a game.
Yeah, so.
Oh, Gilbert Arona. I met Tommy last night at Union during his radio show. Really nice guy. Tommy is a great guy. We also got to give Tommy this. You could tell Tommy's getting very frustrated with Bruce.
Wow, you're just adding everyone.
Yeah, I'm throwing.
But yes, no, you're right. He is.
And again, but you can also tell that that Tommy knows that Bruce is a good dude. So he's not. You can just tell that there's moments where it's like, come on, man, what are we doing here? We should get Bruce on next week. Year 2, Carlos Martinez. It's not Carlos Martinez. It's Conrad Martinez.
That's something you would do. You'd be like, you just go around telling everyone you love Carlos Martinez until you realize that it's not.
Like Kermit Walton?
Kermit Walton.
Where is Kermit Walton playing? By the way, before Scheer fired me, he used to have me call recruits, and maybe this is part of the reason I got fired. But I mispronounced misspelled. I called Shane Noel and I called him Jalen. That didn't go over well. Then Kermit Walton. And I believe there was another one in there, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'm sure there was.
There was another one that was really bad. But either way, I think Arizona's going, listen, they're going to lose games next year, but I think they're going to acquit themselves well in the Big 12. And I'm excited because I think this might be his most talented team next year as well, Scheer.
Yeah, that's my biggest worry is how fans will react because Arizona's going to lose multiple games next year.
Right.
And they're just going to have to live with it. So start that process now mentally, whatever you need to do. But they'll be fine. I mean, no matter who they lose, the portal makes everything easier. So I think it could be one of those teams that has some growing pains at first, but winds up being really good.
All right. Now, let's see here. Gila River Resorts and Casinos. When was the last time you went to the Gila River Resorts and Casinos, Scheer?
Very, very recently.
I would assume so as well.
Yeah.
All right. Now, here's a great thing about Gila River Resorts and Casinos. You might find Jacob Franklin hobnobbing around there. Jacob Franklin, all 6'8" of him. You can't really miss him. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playathila.com for more details. Again, they offer an authentic and immersive experience. There's nothing fake about the Gila River Resorts and Casinos. We know exactly where they are. They got the cool little blue waves. I'm telling you, check it out. Also, no better time to become a PHNX diehard, my friends. Access to Discords, chats, Jacob Franklin, cool shirts. Jacob, pull that shirt up if you would, if you're still listening. This is a good shirt. All right, these things are going like hotcakes. Even Tony Gimino bought one of these. And is there anything sexier than Tony Gimino walking around downtown Tucson with one of these shirts, Scheer?
Without a shirt would be the only thing.
That's a good point. Or this tatted on his chest, Tony Gimino. But all right. On that note, all right, Jacob, you can bring it off the screen now. All right, Scheer, I got Mulebach coming on tomorrow. We got a real guest for the first time this week. But in the meantime, where can they find Jason Scheer causing all kinds of issues?
At Jason Scheer on Twitter, wildcatauthority.com, and the Wildcat Scoop podcast with my wife, Shelby.
This is a great question on to close this one out with Gilbert Arona. Do you think Gilbert Arena's son? This is not a foregone conclusion commitment. This is going to be one that's going to be played out because this kid's good.
Yeah, it's going to play out. It's too early for me to be able to give you a good answer on that one.
All right. On that note, we did great work today. And again, there will be no Big 12 slander on this show. We are very happy to be joining the Big 12. No more of that. We only have good things to say about our future conference mates. But on that note, for Jason Shear, I am Mike Luke. Abraham Mendoza, you crap on me as an official all the time. I am not interested in your collab. Well, actually, maybe I am. Anyways, on that note, you've been listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.